and welcome to Colorisma. I'm Shar, and we're doing something different today. I'm going to attempt to do everything today on my phone, and we're doing a true draw with me. So we will be drawing with me on this XP pen device, and I'm going to be working on my comic. So, okay, I was about to say, I just changed my screen protector yesterday to a new one that doesn't have a big scratch and a big dent in it. And I saw that little mark on my screen, and I was about to freak out because that was like in just the same area that old dent was, and just just freaked me out there for a minute. But we're all good. It was just a dot on the screen, so that was all. So yeah, today, planning on talking about um difficulties. I'll talk about my week last week, and as well just kind of more general topics, but for me personally, it was quite a, a weird and difficult week. Um I ended up having between Wednesday and uh and Friday, I ended up having uh a gas leak situation, a tornado situation, and then a possible COVID exposure situation. And that was just like 3 days in a row, just like bam, bam, bam. And it took a lot out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still working on the same comic that I was working on last week when I was on Colorisma. I had this whole plan of like getting um, that comic from last week done and then working on a new one. And every week I plan on starting a new comic, and every week it is 7 days later, and I'm still really trying hard to get the last of the last week's comic done. And it's just so frustrating to constantly have this happen, where these things and the manner of these things is not like minor. It's not like a slight minor inconvenience got in the way. Just a little tiny thing got in the way, and I was letting it derail me. It's like, oh no, you may have COVID, so you gotta go get tested. By the way, I'm negative. Actually got it tested twice, so doubly sure. Um but yeah, so it's just like been super frustrating, dealing with all of that, and then like dealing with it kind of by myself, because I had to be in quarantine all weekend. I wasn't really super prepared to be able to just be thrown in quarantine. I was just about to go shopping on Friday. I was literally just about to walk out the door when I got told about the possible exposure. So, like, well, I'm not doing that today. And the thing was, I really needed to go shopping on Friday. I mean, I had enough, but it wasn't like a plentiful supply of food or anything. So it was super frustrating. And then on top of it, just dealing with all the different things. And of course, on the national stage, there was a shooting last week, and then there was a shooting yesterday, and I'm just so sick of it. Um, and of course, it takes an emotional toll on me to keep hearing these stories happen over and over. And I want to do my best to support the communities that they're happening in. And I feel like I can't do enough because I'm just one person and I have a very tiny platform. And as much as I want to scream from the rooftops, I feel like I'm also screaming like in the middle of an empty desert. So um, it's so frustrating because I want to like help more, and I want to do more, and I want to fix everything, and I can't. And no, like really one person can. All we can do is do our best. Wow, this hand looks like a Muppet hand. so I don't know why I'm spending so much time on it. Um, but yeah, the best we can do is just to not be dingleberries in the first place and not do stuff like that. I think that would be like step number one. Just make sure you aren't making situations worse for everyone. And if you're doing that, that's something. It's like the very least you can do, but it's something at least. I'm gonna have some coffee. So, oh, and if the mic quality is terrible, I apologize. In the middle of um the tornado last week. So if you're not aware, I live in an RV, and an RV and tornadoes are not really like compatible. So I had to drive um, to my RV to weatherproof it as much as I could, and then drive an hour, ending up going to my family's place, an hour south of where I live, and getting there at like 1 a.m. just due to my schedule that day. Um and that was super frustrating for me. And in the rush and haste of trying to do that, I put my good mic somewhere, and I remember I put it in a little plastic bag, and I don't know where that little plastic bag is now. Um I had something in it. I think I had oatmeal in it. And then I was bringing oatmeal to my family. My family is in quarantine too, so they're the same as me pretty much. We're just an hour away from, um, which made the COVID thing even more frustrating because I possibly exposed my family when I'm trying my best to not do them, but I'm negative. But anyway, um, yeah. So I was gonna bring some oatmeal over to my family, and I end up putting the headset over because I didn't know if I'd still be there on Tuesday today. And yeah, I managed to misplace that bag welly and truly. I have no idea where it is. So I don't know. I might have to end up buying a new pair of headphones. I'm really not sure. But back to drawing. Trying to make it so his hand is like that, but like that, but like this hand that's like that, but not getting it. Um, yeah, so just every sort of thing that happened last week, just all of it, just so much. And I saw a thing today on Instagram about like what your problems look like when you have to deal with it all by yourself as opposed to if you can talk with anyone. And of course it was like it was like a bar graph, and the bar with the one where you're dealing with it all by yourself is like super high, and then when you can talk to people it's super low, or not super low but lower, considerably lower. And it's just like, well, I know which one I relate to. But yeah, um but I spent all of Friday just upset, and then I spent a good portion of Saturday trying to not be upset anymore and just try to like focus on the fact that I have a little bit more time to work on my art than I normally do. So that part was kind of cool. And it's hard for me to even remember what all happened. The days unfortunately went by really fast, even though I found them overall more relaxing than I feel over the course of a weekend. But um, Sunday, I got my like second COVID test, and was able to work on my art even more. I got like another panel done, which was nice. And then Um, Yesterday was even better because I knew I was negative again, and I um I was feeling a little less hectic because on Sunday night I spent some time like listening to a podcast again that I had listened to a couple days before. I've been trying to really research all the different things. I was super excited last week. If you guys caught the podcast last week, podcast, what this is, the web show, art thing, yeah, that thing. If you caught the Colorism episode last week, I was talking about how I found this person, and I was gonna like research and figure out all the different ways to try to grow my audience, and I'm super excited about it. It felt like a super push to the kind of like right thing in my career. And it's not that I didn't feel that. It's just like I got so excited. So when I didn't find like the exact information that would help in the sense of like just a super straightforward set of information, and just like, hey, do this thing, like do this, and that's what I'm kind of looking for. I guess I keep continually looking for like the solution to my problem. And what's going on? Come on. And when I keep not finding it, I'm faced with like this disappointment, um and it's really overwhelming. The disappointment is because it's like constantly there. It's like every time I think it's not there, or every time I think I'm over it, or every time I think I have found a solution, I find that I just kind of end up being disappointed again because it's not super clear cut, or the solution is not attainable for me personally. And and that's kind of how it was. Like the solution that a different person found was not the solution I could implement for myself. And and I was just kind of like super crushed by that on top of everything else going on. Um I was just really frustrated to kind of hear the answer was something that wasn't possible for me. And it it was like super a lot to deal with. And I've just been trying really hard to not feel overwhelmed by all of that, to hear these different solutions and implement what I can of it. But it's still getting to me. It's still getting to me the parts where, all right, what is this guy doing? I can't tell what his anatomy is doing. There we go. I gotta fix that hand. It's bothering me. It's like it's gotta be in perspective, and I'm not capturing that. Let me try this thing. Remember? No, that part's right. Um, but yeah, so it's just been a lot of sitting around and thinking about things myself, and trying to figure out um what the answer is for myself. And I still haven't found the answer. I keep thinking I'm close, and then it's turning out to be like I just find myself asking a new question, like a more specific question. And now the question isn't how to market so much. It's not that I feel like I'm doing a great job marketing. I don't think I am. But at the same time, I can do all the things. I can run around. I realized the problem isn't so much what I'm doing or not doing. The problem is that I'm not finding the audience. Like it's just they're just not where I am, and or we're like ships in the night, and we keep crossing paths but not actually connecting. And that's actually the true actual problem, and one I've known for a long time now. And that is what I'm homing in on now and trying to figure out um, how to solve that issue. I think it's an issue a lot of people have, and the standard advice that people have can be really frustrating to hear because it's a lot of wait and see or a lot of build your community slowly over time, and it's like right, but like do I spend like 10 more years doing that? Like, um, and companies don't really do that, you know, they don't, they want everything yesterday. And I'm, I'm trying to learn from them because as skeezy as some companies are, they do produce results. And I'm like, if I could just implement some of their techniques, but without doing it in a skeezy way, then maybe that would be the better way to handle some of this and the better way to try to grow the different platforms I'm trying to grow. And I had some more serious thoughts about like, okay, do I want to keep splitting up my time and attention in the sense of like I have the comic and I have Colorisma and I have technically I have like my other business as well. There's the Golden Troop comic and then there's just Char Reed art, which I don't do a lot with my like personal branded thing. I just kind of uh, have that as the umbrella over all the other stuff I do. So it's not that one isn't too particularly draining, but it's really like asking myself again, like, hey, do I need to be more focused? Do I need to pause on one of my projects and like really focus on one, just one, to see if that helps? And I keep coming to the answer of no on that, and I don't know if that's just me being stubborn. It's fully possible that I'm just being stubborn on that. But I don't feel like that's the answer. I don't think giving up on one is the answer. I feel like whenever I figure out the audience issue with one, I can then apply it to the other, and then like both problems will be solved at the same time. And I already do I feel like a pretty good job of um, not letting one of them, one of, well, let me rephrase. I try to have Colorisma be as little intrusive as possible. Like I keep it fun. I just do the once a week. I could do a lot more with it, but I just feel like until more eyes are on it, then it's like I gotta scale with the business. And right now it's very small, so I'm just doing very small stuff with it. And for the comic, it's a little bit bigger in the sense that like I have like a few hundred followers on Instagram, and I've been looking more into like posting again on Webtoons and Tapas and everything. Oh, you can't even see his ear. There's no point in drawing it. Um, so I'm drawing this guy. He's like the main guard guy that I keep drawing over and over. Um, so I've been debating like, am I doing too much or too little in one of the different things that I'm trying to run? And I keep coming up with like, no, I can keep coming up with different things to do. I think that's just part of the business thing. I don't think you should just be stagnant and never change. Well, I don't know. I can't even say that with assuredness because I know lots of things that kind of just do the same thing and with predictable results, and they do very well at it. Um, like people don't even like for it to change. You see that a lot with musicians that if they change their style too much, then suddenly they lose a lot of their audience. So it's a delicate balance. You want to be interesting enough to stay relevant, but you don't want to be so different that people don't know what to. All right, random car horn. Um, but you don't want to be so different as to um, have your audience not understand or know what to expect from you at all either. So that said, um, for me, it's not that I don't know who my audience is because I feel like I kind of have a good grasp on that now. It's like people who like animals, ancient history, and especially if you like horses, and especially if you like similar properties, I would say would be like How to Train Your Dragon and all of the kind of shows similar to that. Um, and so, like, I feel like I have a good grasp on who would like what I like. My problem is I don't know how to find those people in the sense of like how to market to them. Like, I don't know where they are. And unfortunately, like, How to Train Your Dragon is over in the sense of like there's no going to be no movies coming out. So I can't super hype it. Like, that's good and good news, bad news. Like, um, now that that show's over or the movie series is over, um, people are looking for a new thing to like latch onto. And I've been told before, like, hey, don't like compare what you're doing with your comic to a TV show because they're not the same. And sure, I guess, but like we do that all the time with all the different things. And I realize reading a comic is a different experience than watching a show, but I don't know. Again, I might be kind of stubborn with this. It's just like I don't think it's that big of a leap. Maybe it is. Maybe it is asking too much from people who just want to watch a movie to also now read a comic. But that's why I'm also looking around and trying to find people who do web comics and trying to learn from what they are doing and what their marketing efforts look like and everything. It's just really hard to kind of see from my advantage point. I I've been trying to follow. I probably am trying to follow like two specific people, and I need to like look more generally. But yeah, so it is. It has been a lot though. This weekend, I decided to really just take some time and um, focus on. I'm trying to draw this guy's hair, and it's like I do not know what it would look like from this angle. What did I draw it before? I drew it in the panel before. Let me see. Okay, just kind of dorky. All right, dorky it is. Um, but yeah, I did take a day this. What is with all the banging and stuff right now? Jeez, come on, people. Um, but I did take some time and really sat down and I looked up some stuff about content marketing. And while again, that puts all of it on me. And while I do feel good about having like doing that, because if it's on me, I can do something about it, right? Like I can plan out my time and work out a thing and then whatever, and then finish the thing and then post it. My problem is after I post stuff, it's just like that's it. Like I post it and then that is where the problem is. It's not that I'm not doing enough because I can sit there and do something every single day. But if I can't get new people to look at it and then want to invest in it, then that's kind of the whole issue. And I feel like that's a different thing than what content marketing tackles, which is more like what do you post? What do you post to get your audience's attention? And if you're just in the wrong area, if you keep posting um in the wrong area in the sense of like if all of your clients are living on the beach and you keep staying in the mountains and posting in the middle of the forest where no one who likes what you like lives, then you're just not going to ever reach the people that you need to. And I haven't seen anything really address that, and that's been kind of frustrating. Oh no. He says, I was just listening to a podcast that was talking about finding your target customer, and I came out feeling more baffled than I was before. No. And that's the other thing. A lot of this advice kind of contradicts itself when you listen to enough of it. And that's super frustrating. And it's just like, and then I'm hearing, stuff about, now this is all from people admittedly who have a bigger audience than me. So they get to kind of be a little bit more choosy about who is actually listening at that point, because they have enough of a audience that they can kind of hone it in a little bit more and file down to the super like true fans or whatever. And I am trying to find like true fans right out the gate, but that's also kind of like a big commitment ask from people, like right off the gate. Like, ugh. I'm having a gnat problem, and I managed to get it right out of the air, but then it got on my fingers. And anyway, my life. Anyway, so I am trying to find my true audience like right off the bat, and I feel like that is really important. But at the same time, I think you might need enough people looking at what you do before you can kind of worry about that. I don't know. I'm kind of talking out of my league because I really don't know any of the answers to this. Like Christy said, it's super confusing. Um, I just what I really want is just for like some kind of algorithm to just be like, hey, what is your thing like? And I'll just type in about like the Akamina Empire and cheetahs and some golden eagle and oh yeah, mean ass horse and like being nomadic and trying to find your way. And I want people who like all that stuff to like it. And the algorithm just goes, okay, and then goes out and then brings all the people who might like that to me. Like that's what I want to have happen. I all of this other stuff is just getting on my nerves. Cause the thing is like we could have that. Like that's not beyond the scope of what is possible for humanity right now. That is a thing that could actually happen. That is a thing that um is entirely possible right now to have happen. And the fact we don't have it right now is just baffling. It isn't baffling, it's all based on greed, but it's just annoying and frustrating. So, um, yeah, I'm trying to be less frustrated. That is actually one of the things that I'm trying. It's the key word there because I am not succeeding very well. I can for like a matter of hours or minutes to hours, I can be not frustrated, and then when I'm sitting there and I'm about to plan the next day's stuff and I just sit there and go, okay, so for what? Like, I'll do all of this and I'll make this video and I'll post it and I'll get 5 views. For what? you know? Um, and it just makes it so hard to not be frustrated because without knowing who you're trying to target and who you're trying to talk to, and even when you do have an audience on most platforms now, you can't actually post to them. Like you can't be assured that when you post that they're actually going to see it. It's just like, what is the point? And again, I've just said don't be frustrated, and here I am sounding super frustrated because I am. But yeah, that is always the catch. So I did literally write in my though like stop being so frustrated, and what I meant by that note to myself is I did mean it on here too, um a little bit, but especially with my videos that I just started up this week of on my main YouTube channel, because I'm doing like little 10-minute videos there again. I don't want to like, this is a stream of thought. This is like real talk. This is like once this grows, I want it to be like community of us that get together once a week and like brainstorm. Like I would love to just like get on the horn like this for an hour, and at the end of the hour have like more ideas than when I got on at first, because I sat there and talked to people for an hour, and everybody like shared their marketing tips that week, or their, thing that worked for them, or just, like had just like a good conversation back and forth with like, I don't know. It wouldn't have to be a lot of people, even like 20 people, even 10 people, even 5 people. Where we're all like talking about our different things. And I think that's one of the things I'm going to try to do with this channel is try to make an effort to grow it. But again, I'm running into all the same issues I have with every other thing I do. I don't really understand how to find the people. But I know who wants to hear this. It's like anyone who's struggling with their art, come join us. Like, be with us. We struggle too. We talk about it. We're real with it. So that's like my dream for this channel, is to like get together as a community and then just like chat about our weeks, and then figure out like a plan or strategy, like have a little session together, like a brain trust or something. I don't know what they call it, but um just to kind of like all chat together and all sit around and all like work on the same kind of problems and find solutions that are like unique, kind of unique, but also work for everyone. I don't know if that's a thing, but it would be nice if it were. I'm having my second cup of coffee, so. But yeah, um but after for a day, when I was able to get the frustration and keep that at bay for like a minute or two, um I was able to kind of sit and really feel pretty good about um what I was going to try to do, and moving forward, and all that kind of stuff. And I think the thing that kind of um like I had to remember was that I didn't want to stay super in the super frustrated zone too long, and especially not in my new old YouTube channel, where I was going to be talking to my audience about the different things. The thing I wanted to do there, and what I think might be holding me back, is that because I'm holding on to this frustration, um, I'm not letting myself get as excited about the process and the project itself, and I'm kind of letting that get in the way. And um, part of me feels justified for it, because it's like, well, you are frustrated, so why like lie about it or hide it just to, you know, appease people, or like, worry too much about what they think or feel or whatever, instead of like being honest with yourself. And it's not to say that I want to be dishonest about the frustration I feel, but like it doesn't have to be at the forefront all the time. I think that's the thing. I think people might be more drawn to the project. Maybe my frustration is like not offsetting, not upsetting either. Whatever, what word I'm trying to say. Like maybe it's like off-putting. That is it. Um, in a way, because it's just like kind of overpowering the conversation. And even if I'm not specifically talking about it, maybe it's just one of those things that like people can kind of sense or whatever. Kind of like when people are feeling like desperate, then you can just kind of sense that, and you're like, I'm gonna back off a little bit. Maybe it's the same kind of thing. So I was thinking about instead kind of like leaning more into the exciting parts of my project, and thinking about that and how to convey those things more in the stuff that I'm sharing. And so I've come up with a really tacky idea, but I think it might be kind of fun. And it's literally just, I just called it Fun Friday or Fun Day or Friday Fun Day or Fun Day Friday or something like that because I like alliteration. And I was thinking on that day I could just find something kind of uh, fun, do like a little video, one of those like half animatics or just half animated kind of thing with my characters, and something that wouldn't take all day, something that wouldn't require like a super finalized clean sketch or whatever, but just something that was like, hey, welcome to the Achaemenid Empire, do you like horses? Good, you'll be terrified of this one or something. Just something kind of silly or whatever, just to kind of like show people what it is that I'm doing, and then just try to do that like every week, and really like make it fun, make it like, hey, why would I be a part of this thing? And when I think about doing that, it still feels kind of hopeless because I've done stuff like that in the past and it didn't really work out. But I also have a really short impatience streak, so I'll try it once and it doesn't work out, and I'm like, "That's it. I'm done. I'm done with it. I don't wanna do it anymore. I tried it. It failed." And then other times I'll be like, "Oh, I didn't give it enough time," and then I'll try for, like, 6 months, like I have with doing this show once a week. Um, Thinking like, "Hey, people will find it. I post about it every single week." Um, but again, I'm not really I'm just like, "Okay, it's on." I'm not really posting about it any other way, or really giving the benefits of why people should tune in. Like, I'm like, "Okay, I'm doing it, doing the thing, and I know how it is." If I haven't messed with something yet, if I haven't watched a show yet or something, then especially live, it's kind of a lot to like ask for people to come in and to join you live, because that is like very in the moment. Like if you want to just have somebody watch your video, and it's a whatever video that they can watch at their leisure and whenever they feel like it, or they don't have to like interact with it at all, then that's one thing to ask. But with these live things, it is kind of a big ask to have somebody like potentially come in and like watch it live. They have to like stop what they're doing, tune in, and be like present for that hour or whatever. And I've thought about changing the time, and I'm like, no, it's not about the time. It's just about the fact that I'm not doing a good enough job of conveying like why people want to come and join me in the first place for this one particular hour once a day. So I think I'm going to try to make some videos. And again, this is like constantly adding work to my schedule and stuff. And I'm getting away from what I was just saying about how like, oh, colorism is not, I'm not making it too much to deal with. And then it's like, well, let me add all this to my plate. But if I want it to grow, I have to do more than what I'm doing, which isn't nothing, but it's definitely not enough. So that is the next thing I think for what I want to do here. Now, the kind of issue is that I keep posting to the same channels I'm posting, and I keep getting the same response. So I'm not really sure if that's the solution. I don't know if I need to like seek out new channels that I haven't even been a part of yet. I don't know. Like that's the part where I start getting kind of confused on like what to do, or where to go next, because um it just feels like what I'm doing currently isn't working, so why do it? Why do I just keep doing the same thing and expecting different results? Because there's a word for that. um, and I read this really discouraging like thing on online that if you start looking up promoting your webcomic on Google, like there's this one thing that always comes up and they change it every year to be relevant for that year or whatever. But um, they they really dog on like all of the social medias and how pointless it is to do ads and how pointless it is to even really post or try to do hashtags or do any of that, because like there was a heyday for that and that heyday is like now over, so don't even bother. And it's just like, that's all I know though, so now I have to learn a new different thing when I was trying to do, I just figured out the old new thing, and it feels like so much all the time. But that's kind of the way of things, so that's just one of those things you gotta accept. But um it's still a little discouraging because it's like, okay, all right, well that's not, I mean, it felt like it wasn't working, and it kind of like was like, haha, I knew it wasn't working, but now it's just like, great, now what? Um so I don't know. Everybody still like sings the praises of email marketing, and I've always been super bad about that. I feel it's not necessarily like I feel like I'm bugging people, but I just feel like I don't ever have the content. I either have way too much content to put in an email where it feels like overwhelming. I don't want to have it so people feel like, um, because I'll do that. I'll get an email that's super overwhelming, and I'm like, I'll check this later. Later never comes. So I don't want to do that off the bat for people on my own emails. I know you have like a very short, limited time span. It's really best if you can just post one thing. But then again, I've seen emails who do it really cool where they do post a bunch of different things, and it feels not overwhelming. And I don't know how to replicate that without copying it exactly. Um, Not exactly like I would put my own content in there, not just post theirs, but it's still just like, I don't know. I just, because everything feels like a gamble, and I'm not one for risk taking, all of it feels difficult to try to go ahead and try to do. And that makes it even more difficult for somebody with executive dysfunction such as myself. So that's, I think, another reason why I've been struggling is I feel like lately it's not going to work anyway. So unless you got some kind of guarantee that it will work a little bit better for me, then I kind of don't want to do it because it feels like a waste of time. Um, and that's like not a good attitude to have, but at the same time, it's very real. It's exactly how I feel. Um, but yeah, as far as like what this was actually about, like the whole podcast, other than my rambling, um, coming up with a plan was kind of the first step to feeling a little bit better about everything. I can't really come up with a plan for avoiding all the things that I had to deal with this week. It's not like you can really avoid a gas leak or a potential COVID exposure when you're just doing your normal thing, um, or a tornado. Like, those are all just things that happen. But as far as like how you you react to it, I felt pretty okay during the thing, but just like all of it all started weighing on me on how much it was all at once. Um I think even still, even if it's unrelated, coming up with a plan, um whether it's like an evacuation plan or having just something in like stocking up on food, that would have been a lot better for me this week. Like if I had a lot of canned food or something, that so if I ended up having to quarantine for 2 weeks, I wouldn't be completely out of sorts. That is something that I can do to help protect against this happening in the future. Um, so you can, even though you can't prevent some things from happening, um, you can predict the outcome of those things if they do happen. and then plan for that and make it so your life is just a little bit less difficult, even if it's, upsetting things in the news. That one's more difficult. I don't know that I have a plan in place for that. Maybe just like don't check the news like as soon as you wake up, so you don't have like your whole entire day like ruined right off the offset. Like, not to say you want to stay ignorant, but like it can wait a couple hours, So there's that. And then for me and my business, that's kind of the main thing I was talking about today. Just kind of being focused on what is the next thing I'm going to try to focus on and work on and potentially see new different results from by doing this new different thing. Or this thing is already working, so maybe I should keep at it. Or this thing, I've given it some time and it definitely isn't working. It's time to retire that and come up with a new thing. So yeah, I feel that. I have Christy says that been trying to figure out email marketing too. Collected a bunch of email addresses before COVID and just now trying to start a newsletter. I think that's totally valid. I have been debating that too. When and like how often to do the newsletter. That's the other thing. Unfortunately, I use MailChimp, and I'll say the unfortunate part of that is that they have revoked automatic sending. They want you to pay $30 or whatever a month or whatever their thing is. Even $10 for what I use it for, it feels like way too much. And the thing is like for the free plan, their plan is inconsistent. I have a lot of gripes with them. Like, when you start looking into their plans, like the free plan is literally better than the plan that you have to start paying for. Like, you can send to more people on the free plan than the first paid plan that they offer. Tell me how that makes any kind of sense. You just don't get any features, but you like as soon as you start paying, your audience gets reduced. What? I don't like that at all. So even if I was inclined to do that, and I haven't found like a good system. Like, I've checked all of them and they all suck now. All the email marketing has restrictions, and you can't schedule send, and you can't do this and that on the free plans, and I get it, but like, couldn't you let people do this stuff for free if they had like under 1,000 people? Like, that's, in the grand scheme of email marketing, that's not generally considered all that much. And I feel like after 1,000, you might be able to utilize that audience better in a way that actually allows you to make some kind of money from supposed email marketing, which I've heard is a thing, but I haven't actually experienced all that often. But yeah, it's super confusing. I don't like it. I've tried to look into it more, into like alternatives, and there are none that I can tell, which makes me just not do it. Because if I can't schedule send, which I can't do anymore on MailChimp, then there's kind of no point. Because if I can't plan ahead even a little bit, then that's why I used to do an email for Colorisma every week when I was about to go live, and then they stopped. I wasn't able to schedule send, so then I had to rely on myself to remember every single week to send an email, and well, that stopped like right away. So yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like there's so much that we have to do anyway, and then on top of it, now they're like making it even more difficult, and I already have like so many subscriptions to things. I kind of can't do another one, even if it potentially could be helpful, like email marketing. I don't know. I don't know the answers. I really wish I did because I would just tell them to everyone. I would just do it. I wouldn't charge. I wouldn't do any. I would just be like, "This is the answer. Do this." Um, but man, I do not know the answers. I really wish I did. Um, and people who do know the answers, I feel like the answers a lot of times are like, "Well, I just got lucky," and I'm just like, I hate that answer so much. It's so not helpful. Um, but more and more I keep listening to people's stories, and that's what it always ends up being, is that is their answer. Um, I think I'm just gonna change this hand position. It's not very uh specific anyway. So how is this the easier thing for me to draw, this hand position compared to like the straight across one? Anyway, yeah. So I don't know. This is kind of a rambly, frustrated. I'm kind of over it dealing with disaster. Disaster keeps happening all the time. Can't get a break. Like, come on. Come on. um and I just feel like there's a lot of people dealing with that right now and dealing with it in a lot more extreme ways than I am. I mean, everything I've talked about today is just like annoying. It's not like life changing in a very negative way or anything. It's just an aggravation. And I am grateful for that. I do understand that too. It's not lost on me. And in fact, that's like another, well, I don't know. I was going to say that's like another way in which like it's even more frustrating than me because I know like these are just gripes as opposed to like real serious issues. So then I have like this complex about like, well, there's people that have it worse than me. Um, but yeah. So, uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of, I'm kind of lost, for hints because I feel like at first I felt like I had like a lot of solutions, and then when I started talking it out, it's like, oh no, actually I don't. Um, all I know is to just keep fumbling, and maybe something different will happen. I don't know. That is not helpful advice at all, but that is all I got for this week, I think. Just keep fumbling until something does better than when you fumbled it before. That doesn't seem very helpful to anyone. Um, but yeah, that's all I got for this week. I think I did not get very. I spent an hour just getting that. It's not a lot. Um, I can draw and talk, but obviously it kind of makes me go a little slower. But oh well. I will get this panel done today, and I think I'm going to call it a day because otherwise I'm just going to keep rambling. I wish I had better advice for y'all, but I kind of don't. I think the best thing we can do moving forward is just to keep trying, keep researching. If I find any good advice, y'all be like one of the first ones to know about it. I will share it. I keep trying because I keep hoping that I can find something that I can share with y'all that really helps. So I will, for me, maybe part of the answer is like find something a little bigger than yourself and see if that can't be motivating. And I think that might be kind of the thing that helps me continue forward for now, is that the hope that if I can find a solution, then I get to share it with y'all, and then hopefully you can enact it, and then it'll be better. So I appreciate you for watching if you have, and I hope that you are doing okay. I know it was a difficult week for a lot of people, and yeah, so. Have a good week this week, as good as you can anyway. And take care, everyone. Bye.